Hi all, Jeanette here, and welcome to the Neil's Homestead and welcome to my kitchen. This is the second video of a series that I'm doing this time of year at Christmas time about homemade candy, old-fashioned style homemade candy. And today we're going to make cream caramels, luscious cream caramels. We used to make these and sell them at the farmer's market, and people fell in love with them. I did quit making them after a while because there's so much trouble, especially the wrapping up of all the little individual caramels. But I want to show you how to make them, and so that you can enjoy them in your own home at Christmas time. The recipe that I like came out of an old 1970s Betty Crocker cookbook. And that's my favorite cookbook that I own. What we're going to need is 2 cups of sugar, half a cup of butter, 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, and a 1/4 cup of corn syrup. We'll cook it in a good sized saucepan so that it won't boil over. We need a pan ready to put it into, and what I like to use is these silicone pans because they're very flexible. I can get it back out of the pan very quickly. And then I prefer to wrap the caramels so they don't stick together, so you would want to use some wax paper. I already have some cut up here in a bag that from whenever I was making it and selling it. You'll also need a candy thermometer for best results. First we'll put in our butter into our pan, and then half of the cream. It's total 2 cups of cream, but we start out by putting half in. We'll also add the 1/4 cup of corn syrup. We'll warm that a little bit. When the butter starts melting, go ahead and pour your sugar in. Continue to stir all the time until that sugar gets dissolved. Whenever the sugar's all dissolved and the mixture starts to simmer, we'll add the 2nd cup of heavy cream, and we'll continue to stir. Then we'll use a candy thermometer, and what we want this candy to go to is 245 degrees. It's kind of between a soft ball and a hard ball stage. So we'll clip that to the side. Make sure the ball of your thermometer is not on the bottom, but it's not up on the top either, kind of in the middle of all of your liquids. Continue to stir occasionally. Make sure your burner is not to a point too hot where it might make it scorch. Beware, because this will boil over. Keep your burner down low enough. If it starts to boil over, just lift your pan up off the burner for a little bit. Set it aside and turn it down just a bit. It's up to 230 degrees, and it's really changing a lot in the color and the way it looks. It's getting thicker, starting to look more caramely. We're just going to cook it a while longer. Well, we've reached the temperature that it should be. Here's what it looks like. It's very caramely, it's pretty color. So I've got my pan ready. I'm just going to dump this in here. Very hot, so make sure you don't get it on your skin because it will blister you. If you need to, you can spread it out a little bit. I'm going to let that cool just a little bit, and then I'm going to add some coarse salt to it. I have coarse pretzel salt that I'm going to try to carefully sprinkle across the top. The salt really brings out a wonderful flavor in the caramels. So I think it's my favorite. I'll let this cool, and then I'll pop it out of that silicone pan onto a cutting board. I'll use a knife and cut it into about 1-inch squares. I'll wrap those squares in the wax paper, and it'll be ready for Christmas, and it'll keep for a long time, and we'll enjoy it this Christmas time. Thanks for joining me, and I hope I see you next time when I'm going to make another kind of old-fashioned candy. Bye for now.